Okay, class, I think we can proceed with our tutorial 4. Okay, tutorial 4 is ERD, entity relationship diagram, okay, or ERM, also entity relationship model. Okay, class, I think you can open your tutorial, and then we just discuss the answer of the tutorial, and this is just guideline of the answer. Maybe your answer is quite different, a little bit different with this one. Okay, but after that, Dr. Fariza will upload all the answer for tutorial 4 in Spectrum. Okay, Claire, I hope you can see my slide on my screen. Okay, I think we can get quickly proceed with this tutorial, and then after that you can ask about your group in your group. Okay, if you have the question about your group. Tutorial 4. Okay, please open your tutorial 4. I will go through one by one the answer. Just you can look the answer. Okay, and then question 1, we have two question. Okay, first you have to describe what relationship type present in an AR model and provide example of unary, binary, and ternary relationship. Okay, this is a theoretical based question. Question based on the theory, and then if the question is based on the theory, actually you can directly get the answer from our lecture note or our reference book, or from internet also can, or from the YouTube. Okay, and then the second one, in explain the differences between a weak and a strong entity. We have a weak entity and also a strong entity. In the last in the lecture 4, I already give you a detailed explanation or meaning about what is a weak, what is strong entity. Okay, for the question 1, what is describe what relationship type present in ER model. So actually, what is a relationship in ER model? What the meaning of relationship in ER model? Based on this, you can see, okay, actually a relationship is an association between entity and also between entity, okay, that operate in both direction. So here you can see a relationship type is a set of association between one or more participating entity types. We have unary relationship, which is between a same relationship between same entity, and we also have binary relationship between two entity, and then we also have ternary relationship, which is a relationship between three entities. Okay, and this for unary, the question also asks you about example. Okay, so we have a lot of example you can find from our reference book or from internet. Okay, what the example of relationship between relationship unary relationship, example of unary relationship between one within one entity. Okay, so this example is the example of unary relationship is staff supervised staff. We have entity named staff, okay, and then we have association name which is supervised. Staff is entity and supervised is a association. So, and staff supervised staff is a example of a relationship, which is a unary relationship. and also called recursive relationship. Okay, we have many cardinality of recursive relationship, which is one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many recursive relationship. Okay, and then example here for Unari, a staff within staff entity is a supervisor for one and more staff within the same entity. This is example of relationship for Unari type. Okay, and then we also have example of relationship binary relationship, which is relationship between association between two entity. Okay, relationship between two entity. Here we have a branch has staff. Branch is an entity, staff also entity. Has is a association between branch and staff. So this statement is represent an example of branch of relationship for owner relationship. Branch has a staff. Okay, and for ternary relationship is which is relationship between three entities. Okay, and then we the example here is a staff register client H branch. So here we have entity for staff, also client also entity, and then branch also entity. We have three entity here, and then the relationship between three entity, his staff register client at branch. This is example of ternary relationship. You can refer also at our from our uh, lecture note. Okay, and then the second one is explain the differences between a weak and a strong entity. So also if you look in your lecture note, we have the definition of what is weak entity, what is a strong entity. Actually, for weak entity, okay, here you can actually here you can say that a weak entity is the entity cannot exist without the entity with which it has a relationship, which is a entity, weak entity is independent on a strong entity to ensure that it existing. Okay, meaning that a weak entity cannot exist if strong entity cannot exist alone. Okay, as alone, the weak entity cannot exist. A weak entity set has no primary key unless attribute of the strong entity set on which it depends are included. Okay, meaning that tuple in a weak entity are set are partition according to their relationship with tuple in a strong entity, where a strong entity is not independent of any other entity in the scheme. Okay, so strong entity can exist by can exist without depend on other entity. Okay, a strong entity will always have a primary key, meaning all tuples, which is a single row of table in the set of the entity, are distinguishable by that key. So the strong entity have a primary key, and but a weak entity don't have a primary key. Okay. And then here we can say example of weak entity. Okay, here the example of weak entity. Let's say, for example, let's say a company insurance policy issued an employee and his or her depend. Okay, for for describing an insurance policy, which is an employee might or might not have a dependent. Okay, but the dependent must be associated with an employee. Moreover, the dependent cannot exist without the employee. Meaning here, dependent is weak entity and employee is a parent entity. Okay, and employee is a strong entity, and employee is a parent entity to a dependent entity. That is, a person cannot get the insurance coverage as a dependent unless she or he happen to be dependent of an employee. So dependent is the weak entity in the relationship. Employee has dependent. And then normal this is the differences between a weak and strong entity. And then for question 2, based on the following ER, state 10 possible business rule. Okay. First, you have to know what is a business rule. Okay. I already told you, explain quite a little bit about what is a business rule. The example of business rules. Please, before you can develop or design your ERD or identity relationship diagram, you must identify first the business rule that exists in the situation. Okay, and then from the business rule, you have to identify the entity and also the relationship between entity. Okay. And then, for this question, the question gives you the ER diagram, and based on the ER diagram, you must identify, or you must write all possible businesses that exist in this ER diagram. Okay, you can identify based on the association between entity, or you can identify based on the relationship that exists in this ERD. Okay. So here is an example of possible business rule that we can determine or identify in this ER diagram. So from customer to car, okay, we have several possible business rules. For example, here from entity customer to entity car, the relationship between entity customer and car, we have association called owns. Okay, so here we can derive several possible business rules, which is first, a customer can own many car, because this is many to many or one to many relationship. Okay, one to many relationship. And then also from this one, also from this relationship, you also can get another possible business rule, which is some customer do not own car. Okay, here some customer do not own car. A customer can own many car, and also a car is owned by one and only one customer, because the relationship between the cardinality between car and customer is one-to-one relationship, one-to-one, and then the customer to car is one to many, or many to okay. So a car, the fourth one, a car may generate one or more maintenance record. This is the relationship between the association between car and maintenance. Okay, car and maintenance entity. So you can derive several also type of possible business rules based on this relationship car and maintenance. Okay. Say some car have not yet generate a maintenance product. Some car have not yet generated a maintenance procedure. Okay, and then maybe another one. Each maintenance procedure can use many parts. Here is maintenance entity maintenance related or associated with part. Okay, entity part. Each maintenance procedure can use many part. Okay, and then also a part may use in many maintenance record. A part may use in many maintenance record. So the relationship between maintenance and part is many to many. So many to many relationship, we must split many to many relationship into one to many relationship. Okay. Another possible business rules is from maintenance line with the maintenance entity. Okay, maybe each maintenance procedure generate one or more maintenance lines. Okay, maintenance procedure from maintenance generate one or more maintenance line, and then each part, this is from entity part to maintenance line. Each part may appear in many maintenance line. Okay, relationship between part to maintenance line is one to many. Okay, and then relationship between maintenance entity to maintenance line is one to many, also one to many. And then the relationship between maintenance and part is a many to many relationship. This is question number 2. Based on the following ARD, state 10 possible business rules. Okay, and then also we proceed with question 3. Question 3 asking about a manufacturing company produce product. The following product information is stored. Product name. This is the information that entity product stored. Okay. The attribute for the attribute for product. Okay. We have product name, and then we have product ID and quantity on hand. Okay, these products are made up of many companies. Okay, and each many components. Each component can be supplied by one or more suppliers. The following component information is kept. So this is attribute for component entity. Okay, attribute for component entity, which is component ID, name, description, and name description. So for component entity only have 2 attribute, which is component ID and name description. Okay, and then supplier. Okay, supplier who supply item. Okay, we have also component ID, name, description, supplier who supply them. Okay, so name of the supplier or supply them. So in component we have a component ID and also component name description. Okay, component name description. And then lastly we and product in which they have used. Okay, product in which they have. Also in component, actually we have 3: component ID, description of the component, and also product. Okay, component name or description, component ID, component name, and also description of the supplier. Okay, this is attribute that in entity component entity. So based on this simple description, the question asks you to create an ARD to show how you would track this information. show entity name, primary key, attribute for each entity, relationship between the entity and cardinality. If the question asks you to show entity name, primary key, attribute, so you have to use crowd-foot model. Okay, crowd-foot model, because if you use chain notation do not show the cardinality. Okay, also do not show the entity attribute name. So you must use the crowd-foot model. Okay, and then based on this, also the question have assumption for you in order to create the ARD. So first assumption is a supplier can exist without providing component. Supplier can exist without providing component. Okay, meaning that supplier is a strong entity. Okay, and then component is a also strong entity. A component does not have to be associated with a supplier. Okay, this is mentioned that a component does not have to be associated with a supplier, meaning that a component also a strong entity. A component does not have to be associated with a product. Not all components are used in product. Okay, and then a product cannot exist without component. So here a product cannot exist without component, meaning that product is a weak entity. Because weak entity must be exist, cannot be exist without strong parent entity. Okay, so based on this, you have first you need to identify all the entity, and then for the entity you have to identify all the attribute, and this based on the attribute you need to identify which attribute is a primary key. So the answer is a list of the entity and its attribute. We have component. First, the entity is a component, and then in component, the attribute for component entity is component ID, component name, and description of the supplier. Okay, and then maybe we can choose component ID as a primary key. And then for product entity, we have the attribute for product ID and product name, also quantity on hand, and then product is a weak entity, meaning that a product cannot exist. A product is a strong entity. Okay, a product cannot exist without component, so product is weak entity. Sorry, product is weak entity. And then we also have a supplier. Supplier in we have attribute in supplier for supplier entity is supplier ID, supplier name, and then we can choose primary key for supplier ID is for supplier is a supplier ID, and then you also need to add one bridge entity, which is will connect component and supplier, because the relationship between component and supplier is a many-to-many. So you need to split up many-to-many relationship to be to one-to-many relationship. So we have supplier component supplier, which is under component supplier we have component ID, supplier ID, and then for primary key for component supplier is a component ID and supplier ID, and then we have also boot. Boot is another bridge entity that connect between component and product, because component and product have many-to-many relationship. Okay, so we have boot entity, which is boot entity have component ID, product ID, quantity of component, which is component ID and product ID can be a primary key for entity book. And then based on this, you can create or develop the ERD for this case. Okay. And then here, like example of ERD for the above case. Okay, we have component entity connect with a supplier using a component supplier entity, which is component supplier entity is a bridge entity. We also have a product entity connect with a component entity with a bridge entity, which is a book entity. And you must know here a product entity is a weak entity. Okay. Okay, class, this is example of answer for this question 3. And then we proceed to question 4. Question 4 also asks you to draw or to create entity relationship diagram based on the following statement using chain or crowd model. So this question asks you whether you can use whether chain or crowd. But for question 3, based on the question, you must know whether you must know that you must develop or design your ERD based on crowd model. You cannot use chain model because the question asks you to put all the relationship and then put all the cardinality for the relationship and to show all the attribute in your diagram. Okay, this one is a chain model. You have you draw the entity relationship for this statement based on the chain model. Okay, the solution is based on chain model. And then the statement is about art gallery. This database owned by art gallery. Okay, in art gallery, key information about artists, their name, which are unique. Okay, artist name is unique. Birthplace, age, and style of art. For each piece of artwork, the artist, the year it was made. Its unique title, its type of art, example painting, a sculpture, photograph, and its price must be stored. Okay, so for artwork, we have several attributes that must stored in artwork table or artwork database. And for attribute is like artist, year, title, type of art, and so on, and its price. Okay, and then piece of artwork are also classified into group of various kind. For example, portrait and sculptures. Okay, sculptures given fees may belong to more than one group, and then each group is identified by a group name that describe the group. Okay, and then the gallery keep all the information about customer. For each customer, the gallery keep that person unique name, address, total amount of ringgit spent, and the artist and group of art that the customer tend to like. Okay, and then from this statement, first you have to identify what type of identify the entity. Okay, first you have to identify the entity, and for each entity you have to know the attribute if you want to draw ER diagram using Crowdfoot notation. Okay, and then after you identify entity, you identify a group, and then you have to identify the relationship between each entity. Okay, of course, first before that you have to identify the business rule here. Okay, the policy here. So based on this statement, we have four entity, which is our entity is group, artwork, customer, and artist, and all the entity based on this statement is a strong entity, and then all the entity is a strong entity. No, we have no weak entity here. Okay. And then this is an example of ERD for this statement. Okay, I think you can look here. For group, for customer, we have several attribute. For artists, we also have several attribute, and then the relationship between customer and group is a like group, customer like a group. Okay, and then relationship between group and artwork is a group class, and then we also relationship between artists and artwork. Okay, artist and customer. Okay, and then we move to questions. Question 5. I think because question 5 is question 5. This question 5 is also theory theoretical based question based on the theory. Okay, explain the difference between single value attribute and simple attribute. Give an example of each. So you can get the answer for this one, because this is such a story. You can get the answer from our lecture note. Okay, but here is a sample of answer for what is a single value attribute and what is a simple attribute. A single value attribute is one that can have only one value. This is single valued attribute. For example, a person has only one first name and only have one social security number. Okay, so this is a example of single valued attribute, which is the attribute that have only one value. Okay. And then what is a simple attribute? Simple attribute is one that cannot be decomposed or cannot be subdivided into its component piece. For example, a person's sex is classified as either male or female, and there is no reasonable way to decompose male or female. Or a person's age also can be classified as simple attribute, because age we cannot the attribute cannot be subdivided or cannot be decomposed into several attributes. Okay, and then this is the meaning of what is a simple attribute. Okay. And then the example for simple attribute is age. Another one is uh, uh, sex. Okay. Um, Material sector also can be has a simple attribute and so on. Okay, as long as the attribute uh, only has one value. Okay, and cannot be subdivided. Similarly, a person's first name cannot be decomposed into meaningful component. In contrast, if a phone number include the area code, it can be decomposed into the area code and the phone number. Okay, and the person name may be decomposed into the person name and initial and last name. This is just example. If you said that name is not as a simple attribute, because a name can be decomposed into a different name, which is first name, middle name. Some form we have for name, we have first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, some form we has only name. Okay, if the form is only name, so we can say that name is a simple attribute. But if the form has a several type of name, and then the name is not a simple attribute, because we can divide the name into a different part. Okay, which is first name, last name, and first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, so it is up to database designer whether database designer want to the determination whether this attribute is a simple type of attribute or not, is based on the how you determine that attribute based on the database designer. Okay, but this is just example of what is a single value attribute and what is a simple attribute. Here also said that please note that single value attribute are not necessarily a simple. Okay, single value attribute are not necessarily simple. For example, an inventory code. An inventory code is an example of single valued attribute, because inventory code is only have one code. Okay, if only one code, which is, for example, here HWPRIJ23145, but HWPRJ23145 may refer to classification scheme in which HW indicate hardware, PR indicate printer, IJ indicate inkjet, and so on. Okay, so here the example of this single value attribute are not necessarily a simple attribute, because this single value attribute we can decompose, we can split into different different part. Okay, to indicate different type of item and so on. Okay, for example, this one HWPR IJ23145, where HW indicate hardware, PR indicate printer, IJ indicate, and so on. Okay, therefore HWPRJ2314 may be decomposed into its component part, even though it is a single value. Okay, and then to facilitate product taking, manufacturing series code must be single value, but they may not be simple. Okay, for instance, the product series number might be decomposed this way, and so on. Okay, this is an example. So actually, code for certain even attribute is considered as a single value attribute, but it is not a simple attribute. Okay, class. This is a sample question, simple answer for question 5. what is different between single value attribute and simple attribute. Okay, the main differences is a single value attribute can have only one value, and then a simple attribute is one attribute that cannot be decomposed. Okay, this is the example of the main differences between single value attribute and simple attribute. That's all, class. I think we have. Any question, class, for our tutorial 4? Or you can also ask about if you have question about our grouping, your group. Also, you can ask here. How about your group? Is okay, class? And you also can ask about the letter that you must to submit to the company. So, okay. Okay, class.
Sorry, Doctor.
Yeah.
My group has only 4 members now because one of the members suddenly withdraw from the semester.
So, how many members that you have?
4, only 4 now.
You are from group?
From group 4.
Group 4 only, and then hello.
Yes.
You are from group 4. Yeah.
For G4, yes. Group 4.
Group tutorial 4. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think we have one person that need a group. Hold on, which one? I think Marijana. Marijana still don't have
I'm
a group.
4C.
I think you from group tutorial 4, tutorial 4 apa? 4G.
4C.
4C. Okay, maybe I can ask Marijana to join your group. I'm not sure whether Marijana is from database.
Your idea is waiting to be seen.
Statistic.
GoDaddy websites plus marketing.
Sure, because she just sent email to me and mentioned need a group because she still don't have any group, but she did not mention whether she is from database or statistic. Okay, first I will ask Marijana whether Marijana is from statistic group or database group. If Marijana is from database group, I will ask you to join group tutorial 4C, 4C.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, also can you email to me? Maybe I will forward email you to Marijana, or I will ask. Okay. Oh, you know Marijana or not? Marijana Sipos Dominici.
No.
No, I think this. I'm not sure. Well, Marijana is not is from which country? I think from her name Marijana Sipos Dominicini is from. Not sure. I'm not sure from which country. Marijana is here or not? Marijana Sipos. I think Marijana is not. Okay, I will ask first Marijana whether Marijana is from this. And how about the other group? The group is full already or not? Already full.
Doctor, I'm.
Hello.
I'm from tutorial group 3. If My group has 4 Chinese, 1 Malay. Is it okay?
Hold on, hold on. I will look. Okay, I will check that. Your group, how many people? How many students in your group?
5.
5. And then how many? How about how many Chinese? How many Malay or how many Indian in your group?
4 Chinese, 1 Malay.
I think because we need at least 2 from other races. Is it correct? Let's say if you have 3, and then the other one, the other 2 is from whether Malay and Indian. Kan? Betul tak? Is it? Ya ke tak ya? Is it correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think yes. Based on requirement from Dr. Fariza, you must create a group in 3 nisbah 2, which is if your group you have if your group have a 5 student, 3 let's say if 3 Chinese, the other 2 is whether Malay or India, maybe 1 Malay and 1 Indian also can. Or if you have 2 Chinese, 2 Malay and 1 Indian also can, something like that.
Okay.
But try to rearrange your group with the other group. Try mix up again.
Okay.
Maybe okay. Okay. After we finalize the group.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I want to ask if 4 Chinese, if 1 Chinese is girl and then another 3 Chinese is boy, then another Malay boy, is this okay?
That's why this is also the problem, because the portion about rest is 3-2, at least 3-2.
Okay.
You understand kan? Let's say
Yeah.
3 Chinese, 2 is from the other. Let's say if you have 3 Chinese, 1 Malay and 1 Indian, can. If you have 2 Chinese, 2 Malay and 1 Indian, can. Something like that. You cannot have 4 Malay, 1 Chinese, cannot. 4 Indian, 1
Doctor, so no need to mix gender lah. Like 3 Chinese, 2 Malay boy, 3 Chinese boy also.
At least 1 different gender, okay. At least 1 different.
Okay.
Okay. 4 boys, 1 girl, okay. But the
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay. Any other? How about the organization? Have you got the organization or not? You have to find. You have to find and then propose. Maybe you have. You need propose several organization. Okay.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I have a question. Can we find a company or an organization that currently does not have a database, but it records its data in its own way?
Meaning the database is not really database, but on the paper or just a physical database? Is it correct?
Yeah.
Oh, so you want to propose a database or you want to propose their so after you got the company, so what you want to do for that company?
Probably create the database.
And then design the ERD for them, betul?
Ah.
It's okay. I think it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Doctor,
Yes.
can you hear me? I have a question. For my group, I WhatsApp you the other day. We are all Malay, but because we couldn't find you.
That's why. So we have another one group that have so many Chinese. So can you mix up with other group?
Sure.
Can.
Who's the one that have 4 Chinese just now?
You can try contact that group because the group have 4 Chinese and 1 Malay. So you have all Malay kan? So you can ask that group to give one a 2 person to you ke kan? Kan?
Okay.
You have how many Malay?
5.
5. So you can ask that group to give you 2 Chinese, and then you give them 2 Malay. So they have 2 Chinese, 3 Malay, and you have 3 Malay, 2 Chinese. Something like that.
Okay.
Aduh,
We'll try,
susah.
doctor.
Susah lah. But we try as best as you can lah, and then edit after that we try to finalize lah. Kalau betul-betul tak boleh, kita just proceed lah.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
But please also remember try to get different department, maybe from IS to from if you can pre-IS.
The two of our members are from API.
Oh, API also. Tu dah okay tu.
Okay, doctor.
From API okay. Maybe hello, maybe you can give one Malay to the other group, and then the other
maybe
group
we can just switch one.
one also can, because you have 2 student from API. So that one is okay. So you have 5, 3 from FSCM and 2 from API. Is it correct?
No. So we'll be probably wait, I'm not sure yet. I'll ask.
Your member is 5.
Yeah.
3 from our FSKTM, and the other 2.
It might be 4 FSCTM and 1 API.
Oh, 4. Maybe you can give one FSTM to the other group, and the other group give you just one Chinese student. Okay. Because you already have one student from API. Because the department, the faculty also we can consider as a portion.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay, sama-sama.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not in your tutorial team in the MS team.
Why?
Not sure, because my part shows the general and the lecture for WIA 2001 only.
Okay, your name in Maya is under tutorial?
Tutorial 3.
In Maya?
Okay,
in Spectrum?
Spectrum also in tutorial 3.
If your name is under tutorial 3, your in Maya and in Spectrum also same. Your name should be under tutorial 3 also in what? In Steam. So maybe you can write email to Dr. Nojihan.
Okay.
Ask Dr. Nojihan to add you
invite me.
To add or to invite you in tutorial 3 group. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, we will.
Doctor?
Ezlan. Ezlan is here or dah keluar?
Yes, doctor.
Ezlan, you have a question no?
No.
Okay. Tadi siapa? Yeah, any question before we stop this session?
Doctor, I have a
Yeah.
question. I am from tutorial 4.
Tutorial 4.
I,
Okay.
my group are mixed gender, but we are from the same races. But I look at the other group and like how to say, I think tutorial 4 has many Malay.
Tutorial 5 or tutorial 4?
Tutorial 4.
Have many Malay.
I think because my group consists of different gender but all same races, all Malay.
That's why cannot. Okay, actually kan, if tutorial 4 have a lot of Malay,
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can make a rule like this. At least you have one different gender, one different race, but in your group must have a different gender. Also okay.
Means that different.
At least must have one. Let's say you have 5 students under your group. At least one must from different race, and your group must also from different gender. I think we can accept like that lah. Because tutorial 4 have a lot of Malay, betul tak?
I think lah.
You can. I will
because
check
I
later.
look at the name list and most
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. If because also this problem also Dr. Fariza also face this problem. Under Dr. Fariza have a lot of Chinese students. So Dr. Fariza make let's say maybe under one group at least must have one different what? At least must have one different race and must also have a different gender. Okay, also can.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Okay. Any ada soalan lagi? Kalau tak ada, I think we can.
Doctor, for the excuse me, Doctor.
For the
organization.
Okay.
Is it recommended that we find an organization that already have a database or
Yes.
the ones that?
Yes. If possible, you must find the recommended song. If you can get the company that already have their what we call database lah. And then, but we don't want to look their database. We just want to know the process saja kan, the process. So
So it
also,
so it can be any organization, whether it be business organization or
yes,
organization.
yes, any organization. If the organization is also owned by your family, also can. Let's say your brother have a company that have their own database, also you can use that company. Okay, senang nak deal apa semua kan.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, welcome. Okay, class. I think if you have
Doctor, sorry. For the organization, right? If it's a small enterprise, can boleh ke?
Small but
enterprise, not like a huge company, just like normal, small one lah. Not necessarily a huge like well-known company or something. Is it okay?
But the company is established. Is it already established? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As long
Okay.
as okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Kalau company you kan macam kedai apa? Kedai what we call apa? Barang-barang yang perumahan tu apa?
Perabot.
Hardware.
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 Hardware also can. Hardware kan, if you have a contact with the hardware supplier also can. Dia tak besar, but there is a lot many process there. You can try to design design their what's their ERD and so on.
Doktor. Doktor. Saya ada soalan.
Ah.
Kalau minta tadika boleh tak?
Tadika. Okay, tadika. I think if you choose asrama kan asrama boleh, because asrama have a lot of student and a lot of process. Tadika, is there any what type of process that business rule that the tadika have? If there is a lot, maybe you must also identify the process, the business rules in the tadika, because as based on Dr. Fariza, your attribute, not attribute, your entity must more than apa? Eight kan? Kan? 8, and then at least you must have one beach entity. If the tadika have 8, it's okay. That's why I'm afraid the tadika have not 8 entity, not 8 process, 8 entity. 8 entity.
Oh, I see, Doctor. Thank you.
That's why I said if you have apa tadi, barang apa, hardware kan, if you have hardware, because hardware so many entity in hardware, so many business rules in hardware, so that's why hardware is okay. Tadika is first you try to identify the business rules in the tadika. If the tadika have more than 8 business rules, okay, more than 8 entity, so I think you can select choose tadika. Okay.
Doktor.
Tapi tadika dekat KL ada satu tadika yang besar tu boleh, memang boleh. Sinar tadika is quite big tadika where so many students there. Okay. Yeah.
Doctor, can we mix tutorial groups? Like I'm from 3, can I swap with the people from tutorial group 4?
Because the same supervisor kan?
Yeah.
That's why I also think like that, because if you are too difficult to find the portion through 3 Chinese to Malay or to, I think you can make this also rule. You can mix. If you cannot find, if you cannot meet the requirement of performing the group, I think you can try can mix with tutorial 3. But in your list of group, let's say one group, one student from group tutorial 3, you must not there. Okay.
Okay.
Doctor?
Yeah.
My group has 3 boys and 2 girls, but all Malay.
That's why you are from group?
Tutorial group 4.
I think try to find at least one different race lah. I think you can lah, boleh, sebab there is a lot of group that have many Chinese in that group, so you can take change one Chinese from that group, and you give one Malay to the group.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Doctor.
Yeah.
So for the tutorial group 3 must have at least 3:2 ratio for for different races.
Yeah, actually the portion is 3 2. 3:2, meaning 3 let's say 3 Chinese, 2 must from other race. Okay, example 3 Chinese, 1 Malay and 1 Indian can. 3 Chinese, 2 Malay also can, or 2 Chinese, 3 Malay, or 2 Chinese, 2 Malay and 1 Indian also can. Something like that.
Okay,
but at least but at least must 3 2 lah, 3 Chinese and 2 other. But as because the problem here is in tutorial 4, some your friend said that in tutorial 4 we have a lot of Malay there, but in tutorial 4 try to form the group at least one is from others race. Okay. Okay. Okay, class. I think that's all. If you have a question, I think you can WhatsApp or email me. Okay. I think class. That's all for today. Okay. Thank you. Class. Thank you, Doctor. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, class. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Sophia.
Thank
Sophia.
you. Yes.
Kenapa gambar you ada singa?
Allah Akbar.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Doctor.
Yeah.
So in tutorial 3 cannot for one ratio.
Sorry.
For tutorial 3.
Okay.
Good 3. The ratio cannot be 4:1.
How about tutorial 3? How many? How about tutorial 3? Whether so many Chinese or so many Malay in tutorial 3?